The old cemetery lay shrouded in a perpetual twilight. Ancient oaks, gnarled and bent with age, clawed at the sky, their branches like skeletal fingers. Beyond the rusted iron gates, crumbling headstones stood as silent sentinels, their inscriptions worn smooth by time. The town of Oakhaven huddled at the edge of the cemetery, a place where shadows lingered long after the sun had set. Among its inhabitants, whispers of strange occurrences circulated like currency. Among the residents of Oakhaven were two souls drawn to the mysteries that lay hidden beneath the town's placid facade, Salim and Rima. Salim, a young man of science and logic, scoffed at the tales of the supernatural that permeated Oakhaven.
It's all just stories, Rima. Nothing more than the product of overactive imaginations.
Rima, on the other hand, possessed an insatiable curiosity for the unknown.
But Salim, don't you ever wonder if there's more to this world than what we can see and touch?
Despite their contrasting personalities, a bond of friendship united Salim and Rima. They challenged each other's perspectives, their conversations a lively exchange of skepticism and wonder. One evening, as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the town, Salim and Rima found themselves at the local diner, their usual haunt. The air crackled with anticipation as old Mrs. Hawthorne, the town's self-proclaimed historian and gossip extraordinaire, took her usual seat at the counter.
Have you heard about the cursed book in the abandoned library?
Salim rolled his eyes, but Rima leaned in, intrigued. Mrs. Hawthorne's voice, a raspy whisper, sent chills down their spines as she began to recount the tale that had haunted Oakhaven for generations, the legend of the cursed book. Her words seemed to echo in the dimly lit room, each syllable dripping with an eerie sense of foreboding.
According to local law, the abandoned library on the outskirts of town had once been home to a rare and powerful artifact, a book bound in human skin and inscribed with forbidden knowledge. The library itself was a place of shadows and secrets, its walls whispering tales of the past. A sorcerer centuries ago and hidden away in the library's depths. The sorcerer, known for his malevolent powers, had cursed the book to bring doom upon anyone who dared to read it. It was said to contain spells and incantations that could grant unimaginable power, but at a terrible cost. The pages were filled with dark magic, each spell more dangerous than the last. Worse than death. The book's curse was relentless, sparing no one who sought its power.
Salim dismissed the story as a ghost story, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something about the tale rang true. The unease gnawed at him, a persistent whisper in the back of his mind.
It's just a story, Rima, meant to scare people, nothing more. His voice was firm, but there was a hint of doubt that he couldn't quite hide.
Rima, her eyes sparkling with intrigue, hung on Mrs. Hawthorne's every word. The tale had captured her imagination, and she felt a strange pull towards the old library.
We have to go to the library, she whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. The thought of uncovering the truth behind the legend was too enticing to resist.
Salim, despite his skepticism, found himself unable to resist her plea. The mystery of the cursed book had ensnared them both, and they knew their lives would never be the same again. Under the cloak of darkness, Salim and Rima made their way to the outskirts of town, their hearts pounding in unison with each step that brought them closer to the abandoned library. The once grand building now stood as a decaying monument to a bygone era. Its windows, like vacant eyes, stared out at them, reflecting the moon's pale light. As they approached the library's entrance, a cold wind swept through the trees, carrying with it the whispers of forgotten voices. With trembling hands, Salim reached for the rusted doorknob, pushing against the weight of years and neglect. The door creaked open with a groan, as if protesting their intrusion. Inside, darkness reigned supreme, the only illumination coming from the slivers of moonlight that pierced through the cracks in the boarded-up windows. Stepping cautiously over piles of debris, they ventured deeper into the library, their footsteps echoing through the silence like the beating of a phantom's heart. They stumbled upon a spiral staircase, its steps creaking ominously under their weight, each sound echoing through the desolate building like a ghostly whisper. Below, the faint glow of moonlight revealed a hidden chamber, its entrance concealed by a tapestry so old and brittle that it seemed to disintegrate at the slightest touch. as if it had been waiting for centuries to be discovered.
Heart pounding in his chest, Salim reached out and pulled the tapestry aside, revealing a narrow passageway leading into darkness, a darkness that seemed to swallow the light whole.
With bated breath, they descended into the unknown, their footsteps echoing through the narrow passageway, each step taking them deeper into the mystery. The air grew colder, damper, as if they were descending into the very bowels of the earth, the atmosphere thick with an ancient, unspoken dread. The passageway opened into a small circular chamber, its walls lined with bookshelves that stretched from floor to ceiling, filled with volumes that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. In the center of the chamber, resting atop a pedestal of what appeared to be human bone, lay a book, its presence commanding the room. Unlike the other books in the chamber, this one was bound not in leather or vellum, but in what appeared to be human skin, its surface etched with symbols that seemed to pulse with a life of their own.
"Open it, Salim," she whispered, her voice barely a tremor in the stillness of the chamber, the words hanging in the air like a forbidden incantation.
Salim hesitated, his hand hovering inches above the book's surface, but Rima urged him on, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and anticipation, knowing that what lay within could change everything. Overcome by a force he couldn't comprehend, Salim yielded to Rima's request. With trembling hands, he traced his fingers along the book's spine.
All right, Rima, here goes nothing.
As he opened the book, a wave of icy air blasted forth, extinguishing the candle and plunging them into darkness. Screams echoed through the chamber as unseen hands reached out from the darkness, their icy fingers digging into Salim and Rima's flesh.
"Salim, what's happening?"
Panic surged through them as they stumbled backward, tripping over unseen obstacles in their haste to escape the unseen horrors that surrounded them. The book, its pages glowing with an eerie internal light, slammed shut with a resounding thud that reverberated through the chamber. Silence descended once more, heavy and absolute.
Rima, are you okay?
I think so. What was that?"
As their eyes adjusted to the darkness, they realized with a growing sense of horror that they were no longer alone in the chamber. The shadowy figures spoke in hushed, guttural tones, their words slithering through the air like venomous snakes.
"You have broken ancient pacts, sought forbidden knowledge. Now you must pay the price."
As the shadowy figures drew closer, Salim felt a coldness seep into his bones, a chilling dread that gnawed at the edges of his sanity.
Rima, stay behind me, I'll protect you.
Summoning what little courage he had left, Salim pushed Rima behind him, shielding her with his own body.
Get out, leave her alone.
The shadowy figures paused, their heads tilting to the side as if considering his words. Then, as quickly as they had appeared, they vanished, melting back into the darkness from which they had come.
"Salim, we need to get out of here now."
Struggling to their feet, Salim and Rima stumbled out of the chamber, their legs shaking beneath them. Emerging from the library into the cool night air, they gasped for breath, their lungs burning as if they had been submerged in water for far too long. In the days that followed their harrowing encounter in the abandoned library, Salim and Rima found themselves irrevocably changed.
I can't shake the feeling that we're still being watched, Rima.
Rima, once so eager to unlock the secrets of the unknown, was now haunted by the horrors she had witnessed.
"Every time I close my eyes, I see them. The shadows. They're always there."
They tried to forget what they had seen, to convince themselves that it had all been a bad dream, but deep down they knew the truth.
We can't tell anyone, Rima. They wouldn't believe us. We have to live with this, alone.
The abandoned library stood as a constant reminder of their encounter, its silhouette a dark stain against the horizon. Neither Salim nor Rima dared to speak of what they had seen, knowing that their words would only serve to make the horror feel more real. They had returned from the library with their lives, but they knew that a part of them would forever remain trapped within its walls. Whispers of strange occurrences continued to plague Oakhaven, a town once known for its tranquility. Shadows seemed to move with a life of their own, and whispers followed residents down empty streets, echoing tales of the past. Unexplained noises emanated from the abandoned library, and some swore they saw flickering lights in its windows at night, as if the building itself was alive. Salim and Rima, forever bound by their shared experience, found solace in each other's company. They had witnessed things that defied logic and reason. They knew that no one else would believe their tale, that to speak of it would only invite ridicule and disbelief. The town's skepticism was a barrier they couldn't breach, and so they carried their secret together, a heavy burden that weighed upon their hearts and cast a long shadow over their lives. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. The cursed book remained in the hidden chamber, its power undiminished, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to succumb to its allure. Its pages whispered promises of forbidden knowledge, and the cycle would continue, a never-ending dance between curiosity and terror. Drawing in those who dared to seek the unknown, Oakhaven remained shrouded in an eerie silence, a town forever marked by the shadows of its past. The air was thick with the weight of untold stories. The cursed book's legacy lived on, a chilling testament to the power of the unknown and the consequences of seeking knowledge that is best left buried in the annals of time. Its presence was a constant reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows.